Hi golfers, Nick here from GOLFTEC Singapore. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to take a look at the P6 position in the golf swing. So here at GOLFTEC, we measure the swing in 9 different positions using these motion measurement sensors to help you improve your golf. So today we're going to look at the P6 position, which is when the shaft is parallel in the downswing. A few weeks ago we looked at the left arm parallel in the downswing, which was P5. This week we're going to look at P6 and look at how the motion affects the club path and where the position of the club path affects the club data. So just to give you guys an idea, the way we measure here at GOLFTEC is we have a red colour code which would give you the most out to in swing path, a green colour code would give you an in to out path which is on the tour average, and in between that we have a yellow which will give you slightly out to in, and a blue which would be the most from in to out. So today we're going to test that theory out at P6, which is when the shaft's parallel, look at these 4 different positions, see what happens to the club data, see what happens to the motion measurement number, and take a look at it in a little bit more detail. So before I hit these shots, I'm just going to explain to you how the turns work and how the position of the club in relationship to the hands will give you these different colour codes. So to start with, if you take a look at the screen here, you can see I've pulled up hip turn and shoulder turn. So in the swing, when I get down to this position here where the shaft is parallel, P6, see the club just basically in this left hand camera is just inside my hands or in line with my hands, roughly about here would be green. This will give you a slight in to out path where the tall players are. See how my turns are pretty close to 0 with shoulder and hip. Now if I was to swing to blue where the club is now inside of my hands, you'll see how these turns are more closed. Shoulder turn and hip turn are more closed, and that's where the club's more inside my hands. And if I was to go to yellow, which is where the club is slightly outside my hands here, you can see how my turns are opening. And then if I swing to red, they're the most open. That's be red position, that'll give you the most out to in path. So basically, as I move in the backswing, my hip and my shoulder turn closes, and then it opens in the follow through. So the more you open your turns, the more the swing comes across. The more you keep them closed, the more the swing will stay behind you, more from an inside path. So today I'm going to hit the shots, 4 shots. I'm going to try and swing as close to those colour codes. Then we're going to look at the club data and we're going to look at motion measurement numbers, see what the difference is between the 4 positions. So to start with, we're going to start off with green, which would be sort of my normal swing. So you can see on the screen there, pretty straight shot. So I'm expecting club path slightly from the inside here. So for that first shot there with the green, 4.7 degrees from in to out. So 4.7 degrees in to out with green. So blue I'm expecting to be maybe closer to 10. Let's have a look. So the blue, pretty good shot. It's definitely felt more from the inside, so it's going to be interesting to see what the numbers were. Definitely a bit more shape or a bit more draw to the ball like that. Yeah, so for blue, 10.7 degrees from in to out. So let's move on to yellow. Okay, so around 5 degrees in to out for green, around 11 degrees in to out for blue. So for yellow, expecting this to be maybe a couple of degrees out to in. Okay, so a bit of a fade there. Struck it pretty good. You can see ball flight very different to the first 2. So 2 degrees from out to in for yellow. Okay, so finally we're going to move on to red, which should be the most out to in. So you saw the pattern there, 5 degrees green, 11 blue, 2 degrees out to in for yellow. So I'm expecting this to be even more out to in for red. It's going to be feeling like really opening my turn. Okay, so really felt like a swipes across that. A bit of a pull fade that. It's come up a bit shorter than the other shots as well. So it'd be interesting to see what the club data was. Yeah, you can definitely see more shape to that shot. So yeah, so club data for red, 6.5 degrees from out to in. Let's sit down now, take a look at those swings in a little bit more detail, look at the motion, take a look at the club data. Okay, so you see me hit the 4 shots there on the quad. So just quickly taking a look at the club data, I'm going to put it up on the screen so you guys can see. So the blue was at 10.7 degrees into out, green was 4.7 degrees into out. Then when we started to go to yellow and start opening our turns, 2 degrees out to in for yellow and 6.4 degrees out to in for red. So now we're going to take a look at these swings in a bit of detail and see why the club path was different for each one. So first up here we've got the blue on the left and the green on the right. So in the swing we're just going to take a look at the movement. So we're going to take it to the top of the backswing and let's bring up some numbers here. So I've just brought up some motion numbers here. So you can see how in the blue swing, I've actually turned more in the backswing. I've gone past the sort of the tour average. Anything within green is basically where the tour player averages. Anything past green and goes into blue, that would give you more of an in to out path, which is what we saw today on the video. So let's take it down to 6, which is shaft parallel. So when we get to shaft parallel, you can see the difference in relationship from in blue where the club is in relationship to the hands, and then for green you can see it's basically in line with the hands. So we said there on the video that for the green one we want to be in line with the hands or slightly in, and for blue we want to be inside the hands. That will give you more in to out path. So the one on the left there we had about 11 degrees from out to in. This one on the right more closer to 5. So taking a look at the numbers, you can see how for blue my turns are more closed, so my hip turn is still closed to the target for blue. In green it's opening up more, so it's within the tour player average 20 degrees. So the shoulder turn's a little bit closed for green, and you can see an extra 20 degrees closed for blue. Just want to show you one more thing as well. So in the exit position, this is quite important as well. So what you'll notice is in the follow through I'm turning more for green as well, but notice where the club exits for green and then where it exits for blue. We're going to take a look at this from red and yellow as well. So we know for this blue one the club was more from the inside, as you can see here, and it exits sort of on the neck, and then for green a little bit straighter into the ball, 5 degrees, and then exits just on the shoulder there. So it'd be interesting to compare these positions again when we look at yellow and red. We're going to take a quick look at yellow and red here. So on the right here we've got red. You can see the difference of where the hands are in relationship to the top line. We talked about this top line before. It's basically top of the elbow plane. Also notice for the shoulder turn is a little bit more closed for yellow, like 6 degrees, and the hip turn's about 5 degrees more closed. Now obviously we're going to concentrate on where the club is at shaft parallel and downswing at P6. So we take it down to there. First of all, you'll see the distance the club is from the hands for yellow, and then for red. So you can see it's more outside for red, and then the turns are more open. Not much more with the shoulders for red, but a little bit more for the hips. So you can see it's also the wrist position, but it's also the rotation of the body, and it does have a big bearing on where this sort of the club path is into the ball. So we know for yellow this club came in a couple of degrees out to in, and then we're just going to reference the sort of the exit position here for the shaft. So we talked about that with the green and blue as well. So there's yellow. We know for red we came in sort of 6 degrees out to in, and then again you can see the exit position a lot lower for red. So it's quite interesting to sort of compare these positions, looking at the motion numbers, looking at the club data, so you can relate it then back to your golf swing. So a lot of people talk about how you need to really rotate in the downswing. When you look at the best players for green, they're not opening their turn until by the time they get to impact. So you saw there for the green we were around about 0 for the shoulder and hip turn at P6, and if you start to open up these turns and you get too open, so you get your shoulders 16 degrees open, your hip turn more than 30 or 40, you're going to start to swing across the golf ball. So it's not just about rotation, it's about the body. We talked about the hip sway in the other videos. It's about timing these movements to help you keep the club on a good path into the ball and slightly from into out if you can. So using these motion numbers I think is a great way for you guys to sort of improve your golf. So if you can get to a GOLFTEC and get on these motion numbers, it will really help you. But any questions on that in the meantime, post them in the box below. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and we'll see you again soon for another video on golf tips.